All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome in and bear down. And this is one that I did not see coming, and mostly because he was under contract until just 1 week ago today. And then the Jaguars ended up cutting him before the new league year, which made it so he didn't get his roster bonus. So I didn't have Devin Duvernay on my roster earlier on because I didn't see him, but he's one of those that happens right at the end of the league year where teams will cut them before the new season begins so they don't have to pay a bonus. And the Bears were able to sweep in and scoop him up. So all the talk about Mecole Hardman, about Rondale Moore, yep, I thought we were going to sign one of them. Sounds like Mecole Hardman has signed with the Packers, so it doesn't sound like he has. And it sounds like Rondale Moore is still making the rounds. So he went and visited the Titans today. He's still looking for a home. The Bears aren't scooping him up. And I do think this signifies the Bears are not going to pick up Rondale Moore. But Devin Duvernay definitely has that speed, 4.39 speed. So let's jump in and pull me off screen and look into him. So first of all, here is the news from earlier today. And guys, I'm sorry, I have my 9 to 5. Wasn't able to hop right on when it happened, but I do have some good tidbits you're not going to want to miss. So there, the Bears are saying another weapon in the wide receiver room. We've signed Devin Duvernay to a 1-year contract. Jordan Schultz. Source, the Bears are in agreement on 1-year deal with wide receiver and 2-time Pro Bowl returner Devin Duvernay. Duvernay, another key addition in Chicago. Couldn't agree any more with what they're saying. Here is what you want to know about Devin Duvernay. So you guys know I like to use the little pointer here. Key highlights. All-Pro in 2021, Pro Bowl in 2021 and 2022. Was having his best season in 2022 before an IR stint with his ankle that made him miss the last 2 games of the season. So you'll see I put that here. In 2022, they put him into a starter role with Rashad Bateman. He'd worked his way up to that. So they'd released Hollywood Brown. He was now going to be one of the starters. He had his first career multi-touchdown game in week 1 over the Jets. So things were looking really, really good in 2022. Always a good return specialist, though. You see his rookie year here. He did return 1 for a touchdown. In fact, I'm going to highlight a couple other things here in just a second about his return ability. But he was on pace to be an actual bona fide wide receiver 2/wide receiver 3 in the league, doing really well. And then he had an ankle injury that made him miss those final 2 games of the season. Then, this is the key that I haven't heard anybody else point this out yet. I'm going to show you guys why this is a good signing. 2023, they signed, this is the Baltimore Ravens. They're trying to beef things up, get Lamar Jackson his Super Bowl. They signed Odell Beckham Jr. and Nelson Aguilar, and then they drafted Zay Flowers in that draft. So that pushed him back to return-only duties. And he became a return specialist again. You can see his production dropped off. He was at 407 with a couple games left to go. Probably would have broke 500 yards. Bona fide wide receiver 2/3 role. And then that year in 2023, it relegated him to return specialist only. Only had 18 yards. But look, every single year, low drop percentage. You guys know how much I love those drop percentages. Low fumble. Does not drop the ball. And contested catch was high. This is what I like in a flyer receiver. I got to tell you guys, I got to bring you in. I love this signing. I absolutely love it. Take me back off. All right, I'm not the highlight here. Then in 2023, return specialist, and then he missed half the season on an IR stint again. Rough thing to happen when you're on a contract year. Obviously, this is the rookie year. Final year of that year, your contract year, you don't want things like that to happen. He missed the entire second half of the season with a back injury, and he was on the IR most of the second half there. So as the Ravens, you can't blame him. You can't blame them for not taking another flyer on him and re-signing him. Jacksonville went ahead, signed him to a 2-year contract. Contract with the Jaguars was 2 years, $8.5 million, so $4.25 million per year. And the Jaguars, after 1 season, and I don't think they used him correctly. You look at his receiving, 3 out of 3 contested catches, 79 yards, only 11 receptions, 16 targets. He did fine in returning. His return grades were fine. I just don't think he found the right fit with Jacksonville. I'm not saying he's going to come out and be a Pro Bowler day 1. But you've got to admit that Devin Duvernay is a solid signing for the Bears. We don't know the contract details yet. I would bet it's somewhere around the $2 to $3 million range. And we also don't know if part of that contract is covered from his cutting from the Ravens, because there was over $5 million guaranteed on that 2-year, $8 million contract. So the Bears might have part of that being paid by the Ravens, we'll end up seeing how that goes. I am going to put highlights up here. I hope they don't. Man, I hope they don't get cut out. I'm going to take the sound off, and I'm going to put these two things in front of it, so I apologize. But, guys, that's how we have to play the system here to try to get some highlights in. But he broke into the league with the Ravens in the third round in 2020 NFL Draft. He was out of Texas. You can see that right up here at the top. I'll show here Texas Longhorns, 5'11", 202 pounds. Good size. He's only 27 years old. And, guys, other people have been making this connection too. It's not just me, but Devin Duvernay, Devin Hester. I'll tell you why they're doing that, because he quickly became the team's primary returner. That was his This is what he's known as a return guy. From there, he became one of the best return specialists in the game, leading the league in yards per punt return in 2021, 13.8 yards per punt return. Never finishing a season lower than 11.5 yards per return while he was with the Ravens. Obviously, this last year with the Jaguars, it was 8.8 yards per return, but I think there's more issues in the Jaguars than that. In fact, in his career, it's actually 11.9 yards. They have 12.0 listed on certain sites. Return average. That's higher than Devin Hester's 11.7. I'm not insinuating by any way, shape, or form that he is a better return specialist than Devin Hester. I'm telling you, you can see here the 4.39 speed. He's got the speed we were looking for. You add that 4.39 speed with his already success and his moves in a return specialist, and there's something special there we can pull out of him. So he earned All-Pro honors in 2021, named to the Pro Bowl in 2021 and 22, and the only thing holding him back were those two injuries that hampered him with the Ravens. Now, the Bears, we've been lacking that since Devin Hester, a true return specialist. We haven't had that guy on the Bears since then. So, to me, this is a no-brainer. Take a flyer on him. What's he going to cost? $2, $3, $4 million? Who knows? And maybe the Ravens are paying part of that. Like I showed earlier today, we have roughly $9-10 million left. A little bit of buffer cap, and we can cut Chris Williams, and we can cut Ryan Bates. There's options to squeeze this, and if we really have to, we can restructure a contract. To me, this is an absolutely phenomenal signing by the Bears, going out and getting a key weakness we had last year. I don't think it takes Josh Blackwell out of the picture. I think everyone knows on a kick return, on a punt return, there's always two back there. In fact, if we pull up the return from Josh Blackwell last year, it's because DJ Moore was on the other side faking that he could cut the ball, then Josh Blackwell took off. If you got two legitimate threats, if you've got Josh Blackwell back there and Devin Duvernay back there, it's actually going to be a really good strength. Like we talked about, all three phases of the game: offense, defense, special team. So I do believe he'll be on the offense too. Let me pull up here. Let's get him off screen. See you, Devin. But here is the offensive receivers and tight ends now, and I do believe this puts Devin Duvernay as that wide receiver 5 because of his continued success with the Ravens, where he was actually, those highlights I was showing, a lot of them out of the slot, out wide. He's a good threat for this team. So, and you want to showcase DJ Moore and Rome Odunze more. You've got a clear wide receiver 1 and 2, an X receiver. Now you've got a slot, somebody else who can fill in the slot, and then a little bit of a wild card with Tyler Scott. I won't be shocked one bit if we add another wide receiver to this group. I won't. I mean, in fact, last year we took 10 into camp, and right now with this addition we have 8. I can see us adding, if we add one, it's going to be really late in the draft. That would be my prediction. We could add another guy in free agency. It would be a very low-level signing that's not going to affect the salary cap. It won't affect the top 51 in the cap, because this one's only going to, if it's covered a little bit by the Jaguars, and if it's a low $3-4 million contract, that's only going to hit us $1.5 million, $2 million against the cap. This is not going to hit us on the cap. This is a really solid move by the Bears. So this is what it looks like in our tight end receiver room. I feel like it's filled out now. I don't feel like we have to hit this in the draft at all. If someone falls to us on our board where we had them as a priority, say we get into the 5th round, and someone's there like Pat Bryant, who we see as an early 4th, late 3rd round draft pick, we have the ability then to take him at need in the 5th round. We're not dying for certain needs now. Or in the 6th, 7th round, same thing. If there's certain players that fall to us, we can now take them at need instead of having to feel like we have to fill that role somewhere else. Olamide Zaccheaus, Devin Duvernay really round out this room with some really high mid-level value. We're not talking wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, but perfect complements for Rome Odunze and DJ Moore. I really like this signing by Ryan Poles. So one last time, I'm going to come back to here because, guys, there's everything on paper. And like I said, we just didn't highlight this guy because he was only cut last week. Exactly 1 week ago today, he was cut at the beginning of free agency for them to clear some of their cap space in Jacksonville. So the highlights with him, 2-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro as a returner, and it screams off the chart. 13.8 yards per attempt led the league. This 11.9 is higher than Devin Hester's career at 11.7. Again, not insinuating it better than Hester, but there's obviously potential there, and he's obviously done some things right so far in his career. 2 returned kickoffs for a touchdown, and very high return average on punt returns. 24.6 is great for an average of, especially in the new league rules, 25.1 yards. That's really good. So again, the injury at the end of 2022 took him out at the end of that season, and half a season here. That just didn't really fit with Jacksonville. But these things I like. The high receiving percentage. Obviously, he's done his quarterback some favor. Low drop rate. Really good to see. High contested catch rate. All metrics that I love. So I'm a big fan of this move. Let me know what you guys think, though, about Devin Duvernay. Free agency frenzy continues. The Bears add a piece that I didn't see coming, only because he was cut late, and I think is a really, really quality addition for the Bears. So let me know what you guys think, though. Till next time, appreciate you tuning in. Hit that like button if you haven't done that. Again, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. The Bears, and Bear Down.
Bear Down, sports making Chicago proud.